Hello and welcome everyone to the Early Literacy Summer Program with the Firefly Book Award webinar. My name is Beth Yates. I'm the Children's Consultant from the Indiana State Library's Professional Development Office, and I will be your host and question moderator for today. And our presenters today are Suzanne Walker, who is the Indiana State Library's Indiana Young Reader Center librarian, as well as the director of the Indiana Center for the Book. And then we also have Shell Curry. We're thrilled to have her here today. She is a children's book author and a literacy lover. A few announcements before we get started, though. To register for other webinars or other trainings available from the Professional Development Office, please see the Indiana State Library's events calendar, which can be found on our website at www.in.gov/library, and it's under Services for Libraries. This session is 1 hour, so you're eligible to receive 1 LEU for this presentation. And if you're watching it as a recording, instructions on how to obtain your LEU are in the video's description on YouTube, or you can find those instructions on ISL's continuing education site under LEU policies. But in short, when you watch a recording, your director or someone in HR should create a certificate for you, as they're the ones who can verify that you watched. Okay, I think we are ready to get started. So again, our presenters today are Suzanne Walker and Shell Curry. Please take it away, Suzanne.
Thanks so much, Beth. Hi, Shell. I'm very excited to be with you today. So as Beth said, we are going to be talking about we're talking about the Firefly Award today. Welcome to everyone who's with us. I just wanted to mention that the beginning of the webinar, I'm going to try to go through that information pretty quickly. This is being recorded, so if you miss anything, you can go back and get that in the recording. And we really want to spend the bulk of the webinar talking about how to use the Firefly program guide and the ways that we use it and how it's going to be a good resource for you this summer. So I'm going to go through the beginning pretty quickly. That's me. I'm Suzanne Walker. That's my email address. I'm going to talk a little bit about why you might email me about the Firefly Award, i.e. turn your votes in to me. I'm the person that collects that. Like Beth said, I work at the State Library. I run the Indiana Young Reader Center and the Center for the Book. And I just don't have enough time to tell you what that means. So just know that I work with Beth. I love working with Beth. I love working with children's librarians and with kids here at the library. And now I'm going to let Shell introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. And Suzanne, that was a beautiful picture of you. It matches your beautiful spirit. So as Suzanne mentioned, I'm Shell Curry. I was born and raised in Gary, Indiana. I'm a mother of 4. I love literacy and encouraging kids to fall in love with reading. This is my second year with the Firefly Committee, and I'm also the author of my first picture book, The Bedtime Story Race. Love my book, and I love picture books. So I'm excited about the summer and extremely excited to share more.
Yay. Thank you, Shell. We're so happy that Shell is with us, and Shell does an awesome job on the Firefly Program Committee, which we'll talk a little bit about at the end. Okay, I'm sorry, I have a couple screens here and all right, so this is the part where I'm going to try to get through this kind of quickly. So just bear with me. Beth, try to hold questions till the end of this section, and then we'll hop on and do questions if we need to. So what is the Firefly Award anyway? Well, it's an initiative of the Indiana Center for the Book, which is an affiliate of the Library of Congress. Basically, all that means is that the Library of Congress knows that we run this award and that they give their thumbs up to it. And it is an award. It is a picture book award that is voted on by Indiana children ages 0 to 5. So the Firefly program is a book award. That's what it is. And the books that get chosen, the reason that we decided to do the Firefly Award is because, as it says on your screen, picture books serve a really important role in the first few years of the life of children. And the purpose of our award is to encourage parents and caregivers and little kids to interact together with very good picture books. So each year we pick 5 books to highlight, and children ages 0 to 5 are encouraged to read all 5 books, usually with a caregiver or a parent, and then to vote on their favorite. And there's a lot that goes on in all of that. So for example, which books are selected? How do you select the books? What is this program guide that I've been hearing about? So there's a lot going on there, and I'm hoping to unpack some of that now. So what books are eligible? So we choose, like I said, 5 books, and each of the 5, when I say we, I mean the Indiana Early Literacy Firefly Committee, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that committee is, but I'll tell you, it's about, on average, we have about 16 people on that committee from all over the state. So the books that we look at, they have to have artistic quality with text that supports the illustrations, or a really compelling narrative provided by the illustrations. What this actually means is that we could have a wordless picture book, but we cannot have a pictureless book. It's got to have pictures. It's got to have illustrations. So we actually did have to not choose a book one year because it didn't have any illustrations. It also has to demonstrate 3 or more of the 5 practices of the Every Child Ready to Read program. If you've not been trained in Every Child Ready to Read, I know that Beth has some Every Child Ready to Read trainings coming up later in the summer, I think, or later in the spring. So definitely take some of those. There's webinars that you can grab as well. But basically, the 5 practices of Every Child Ready to Read are reading, talking, singing, reading, writing, and playing. So the idea behind that program is that if parents and caregivers talk, sing, read, write, and play with their children, then they're going to have a really good foundation for learning how to read later. So all the picture books that are chosen for the Indiana Early Literacy Fire that are nominated for the award, all 5 of the books that are nominated for the award really need to demonstrate at least 3 of those practices. The other important thing is that they have to be published by June 30th of the current year, or anytime in the previous year, and still be in print. So what that means for our 2023 award, which is the one that we're trying to select right now, those 5 books were chosen from any book that was published in 2021 or by June 30th of 2022. So it's a small window. It's just a year and a half of books that we look at every year. And we try to look at books that are as new as they can be and still be accessible to the committee. So I hope that that makes sense. So right now we're taking nomination. Well, I think we start in June. I think it's in June 30th, maybe. It doesn't really matter, but we're taking nominations for next year's cycle pretty soon. And that would be any book published last year in 2022 and by June 30th of this year. So, okay. The other thing is that they have to possess strong child appeal. So kids have to like these books, not just grown-ups. And the last thing that eligible books have, we really make a strong effort to encourage diversity and inclusion within our ballot. So if you look at the past ballots of the Firefly Award, hopefully you'll notice that there's diversity and inclusion in all of those ballots. Okay, so again, what we're looking for in the future then, we're currently, I guess we're on a pause right now because it's April and we're hoping that people are voting on the 2023 slate of titles, and you guys can vote on those books until the end of July. And then we're going to announce the award in August. But starting at the end of June, we actually will be accepting nominations for the 2024 award. So we would love it if you guys wanted to nominate books for the award. So who can nominate? Well, you guys can. And this is the first piece of the Firefly Award being involved in summer reading. You guys probably read a lot of picture books in the summer with your kiddos. And if you get a really good one that's new and that your kids are loving, especially your little kids ages 0 to 5, you can nominate that for our award. I guess that starts in June, as the slide says. So starting in June, you would be able to nominate books. And as long as the book is eligible, in all honesty, I would probably take those nominations anytime at this point. But Yeah, so we definitely would like you to nominate titles. All you have to do is email the title and the author to me, Suzanne, and you can nominate as many books as you want as long as they're eligible. They're accepted through from June through September, and again, really anytime as long as the book is eligible. However, the September 30th date is a hard date. After September 30th, we close nominations and we take a look at all the books that were nominated. Traditionally, we get 30 to 50 picture books nominated, which doesn't sound, I don't know, 30 doesn't sound like a lot to me. 50 is starting to feel like a lot. I think last year we had closer to 60. So we read all of those books, the committee does, and then we narrow it down to our top 5. So I do note on here, nominations aren't accepted by publishers, authors, or illustrated. So the nominations need to come from people in Indiana who work with children, generally at a library or a daycare. Okay, and where do you email your nominations? You email them to me. That's my picture again. Thanks, Shell, for your comment about that. And I think it looks great because of all the books in the background, which are all Indiana authors, by the way. And you can just email me your nominations and the committee will definitely review the titles that you've nominated. So nominations are almost open. They open at the end of June. We would love you to nominate a book for the summer. So that's one way that you can actually be involved in the Firefly Award in the summer, is by nominating great books. But the other way, of course, is by actually celebrating the books that are nominated for this year. So this is a list of all of the titles. And at this point, I am just going to ask Beth, and I can't see it. Are there things in the chat that we should address at this point?
No questions so far.
Okay, perfect. Great. So these are the 5 titles that are nominated for the award. And I think at this point, oh no, we're almost there, Shell. We were really excited about this, this slate of books, and they made a beautiful manual. I work together with the committee every year to put together lots of different ways that you can interact with these books. I did post the link to the program guide earlier, and I'll call it a program guide and a manual. I'll use those interchangeably. But basically the committee comes up with some ideas. They give all the ideas to me, and then I write the manual and do all the editing and put it together. And we were just really proud of the manual for this year. It's over 60 pages and it's got all kinds of great stuff in it. And we'll get to the manual in a minute. But what else does the Firefly have to do with summer reading? And again, we do have a whole manual for that. But in that manual are program ideas, songs, voting programs, finger plays, crafts. We've got book lists. We've got guitar chords. We've got support and program ideas for all 5 books. We've got marketing ideas. We've got ways that you can connect to your community. So even if you don't do a Firefly story time where you're going to read all 5 books in one sitting and vote on your favorite, you can still use the manual any way that you want to help support whatever you want to do this summer. If you're doing the summer reading program, which I think is all together now, there's great connections to that in the manual. So even if you just want to use it as a partner with that collaborative summer library program theme, you could absolutely do that. And more. There's so much in that guide. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and dive in. Are there any questions before we get into ideas for Bathe the Cat? I think we're good. Okay, I'm actually going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn it over to Shell here in just a second. Stop share. Hi, and now what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go ahead and share the manual itself. So let's see if I can do that. Okay, here it is. And I realize I'm on the wrong page, but I'll get back to the beginning. Okay, Shell, I'm going to mute and I'm going to let you talk about Bathe the Cat.
All right, thank you for that. And thank you for your IT skills today in maneuvering the screen share. So Bathe the Cat. All of the 5 books are just phenomenal. And as Suzanne mentioned, we get a chance to read these over and over again and enjoy them, just as the readers will, the young learners and readers will as well. But Bathe the Cat. So Suzanne mentioned the program booklet guide. I'm calling it my baby guide for the summer, because I'm going to use it just personally as a mom for my littles, as well as some other youngsters who I read to. But in the program booklet, there are so many wonderful ideas. Really, we've done all the heavy lifting for you, but I have a favorite, Bathe the Cat, for this particular book. My favorite is on page 16. I couldn't choose one favorite, but I do have a faves page, and it's on page 16. And so it's about building a word list. And this specific activity resonated with me personally, because my son, Ethan, was a kindergartner during the pandemic, and he was learning how to read his sight words, and we were learning letters and sounds. And so this specific activity resonates with me, and for any mom or any parent or caregiver, because we all have refrigerators, and we would put the magnets and the letters on the fridge. But for Bathe the Cat, which is a fantastic read, you saw all the examples, the colorful illustrations, but this book is super funny. It's so much happening in the book, various shenanigans that are happening. And so I really love this activity because it's interactive. You can use your refrigerator, you can cut out or use magnets for this specific activity, and then just make it interactive for kids. So it's super duper cute. Basically, it's working together to find the right letters, you're spelling the words, and this is an activity that can be done regularly or daily. We did it personally with my son Ethan. I used the refrigerator, chairs, doors, his room, any place that was in his walking path. And for the refrigerator, we put it down low so that he could see the letters. So this one is a super cute one. I think that would definitely be a huge hit. And of course, there are so many other activities. So Suzanne, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Bathe the Cat activity? I know it's hard to choose just one.
I know. So well, and I'll just piggyback on what you were saying. Clearly, in our libraries, we're not going to have refrigerators in our storytime rooms, but you can do exactly what I did here in the manual, which is just draw a really simple refrigerator on your on a magnet board. There you go. And then you've got your refrigerator. So my favorite thing about one of my favorite things about putting this together is I get to research children's music. And there are 2 really good songs that I'm actually going to share with you guys right now. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to start sharing a YouTube video, and we're going to sing this song together if you want to, guys. I'm going to sing it for sure with the people that are going to be joining us. So we'll try this one and see how this works. Okay, so this is a CD called Sweet Honey in the Rock, Still the Same Me. This is an old CD. I was actually really ashamed that I didn't know about it, because I think the CD is about 20 years old. But it's got really great songs, and this one is perfect for Bathe the Cat. We didn't really give you an update on what Bathe the Cat is about, but it's about a family who has to get their house cleaned up really quick because grandma is coming over. So this is the song, which is perfect for this book.
Oh my goodness, look at this mess. I'm the one who made it, I do confess. Oh my goodness, look at this mess. I think I better.
Shell, could you hear it?
Yes, we can hear.
Oh, you can. I couldn't hear it. That's weird. Okay.
Clean it up, everybody sing. Oh my goodness, look at this mess. I'm the one who made it, I do confess. Yeah, boy, oh my goodness, look at this mess. I think I'd better clean it up. Tell me why now. There's a puzzle
Isn't it
piece
great?
under the chair, and the comb for my new doll's hair. The race cars that I love to share. How did they get under there?
Oh, it's so great. Okay, so was it loud enough? Did it work and everything? It was good. Okay, great. So I love that song so much. Oh my goodness, look at this mess. I'm the one who made it, I must confess. And it's got a great, great beat. And you could do it with egg shakers or drums or anything like that. So I love that one so much. I was really pleased to find that CD. And then this is another one that I found. This is the best song I've ever seen about telling time on a clock. And that's something else that they talk about in Bathe the Cat is if you look, one of the parents has a watch on, and in the first page, it's 1 o'clock and grandma's coming at 2. And so that you can actually watch the hands of the clock move in the illustrations. And I think a good picture book is going to do that. They're going to have tricks in the illustrations, or at least connections in the illustrations that really support the words. So here is Genevieve Goings, and she's amazing. She does a lot of stuff for Disney. And this is her song, How Many Fives Around the Clock?
Don't let the clock scare you. It's just a bunch of fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Tick tock, how many fives around the clock? Swing around with me. Tick tock, how many fives around the clock? 12 fives, that's 60.
So she gets those concepts right away. Like there's there's 60 minutes in an hour. There's 12 fives around the clock, so right away. And she says, like, don't be afraid. It's just a bunch of fives. So I love that. And that works really, really well with the program guide. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that now. And I'm going to go back to sharing the program guide. Thanks for bearing with us. Here we go. There it is. So in the program guide on page 15 is where we do have these songs for playing and singing. And they also talk a little bit about like open play time and story time. And then it's earlier that we talk about the clock. So this is the counting by fives activity. So again, this might be for slightly older children. This might not be appropriate for the littler kids, but 4 and 5-year-olds are going to be interested in clocks. They're going to want to know what a clock is. They're going to start to be interested in how it works. And in this activity, you actually use Legos and you put them in stacks of 5, and then you can take them apart and say one Lego represents 1 minute, and then show how many minutes are in an hour. So, and if you use that in conjunction with that song, I liked that one a lot. So those are some of our favorite ideas from Bathe the Cat. And I guess I'll ask if any of you guys have the manual, if any of you want to chime in and mention any ideas from the manual that you liked for Bathe the Cat. You guys are welcome to put that in the chat if you would like. Meanwhile, I'm going to mute and go back to Shell, and she is going to tell us her favorite thing from A Good Place.
Thank you, Suzanne. All right, and thank you for putting my favorite page up on the screen there. So A Good Place, this book is written and illustrated by Lucy Cousins. And what I love about this book is that it's about insects. So there's 4 insect friends or buddies, a bee, a dragonfly, a ladybug, and a beetle, and they're looking for a home. So and then a series of things happen throughout the book, but then they're able to find a good place. So on this particular page, I selected this one because my daughter, Sophie, she's funny about insects, and I'm trying to get her to overcome her fear. Ethan, of course, the little one, he loves insects. And so we're going to actually try this one to help with that. And so my favorite, I know there's two things here. There's a reading activity, but the talking insects activity, I really like that one. So this one is, I need to put my glasses on. Let me stop pretending here. It's so light in the sun is coming in through the room here. Anywho, so this one is about talking to kids, talking to them about the benefits of insects and the advantages of them. And so, as I mentioned with my daughter Sophie, this is going to help me help her to understand that, you know, they're not just these crawly things and they won't hurt you, but it's about understanding what they are. So it's a Q&A dialogue option, which I really like about it. And so in the actual book, it talks about home and where to land for a good place. And so I like this activity again, because it just is a good educational opportunity to incorporate some of that learning for the young kids. And then obviously the next one on the list is just various reading lists that have some of the similar books. And they're written by Indiana authors, which
Absolutely.
That's a bonus there. Anything
Yeah.
else?
Well, I wanted to mention Wake Up Woods, which is on this screen. I hope you guys all have Wake Up Woods at your library. I cannot say enough good things about this book. It has actually changed my life, which it's hard to say that about, like, I'm literally being serious. Wake Up Woods is all about native plants in Indiana and in the Midwest, and specifically native plants that come out in the springtime. And this has changed the way I garden. It changes the way that I hike. My husband and I just went hiking in Clifty Falls State Park a couple weeks ago, and I knew what the plants were because of this picture book. So, and it also has a connection with insects. I didn't know this, but like insects actually, I know that insects pollinate plants, like, you know, bees and even some flies will pollinate plants, but I didn't know that they move the seeds. Did you know that, Shell?
Yes, I did, only because I work at one of the happiest places on earth. It's Earth Month. And so I am doing some things on my patio right now. And so, yes, I just discovered that recently. So
Yeah, I didn't know that. Like ants are really important in like moving and propagating flowers because they will take the seeds and move them, you know, so I didn't know that. Okay, but if we talk more about a good place, the other activity in this that I really liked, well, we do have the flannel board, like the retelling of the story with all the pieces are already there for you. So you don't have to look those up. This was a really fun craft to do, the natural dragonfly craft. We've got lots of action rhymes and songs, lots of songs for body movement. Shell, have you ever taken your kids on a trash walk where you go around the neighborhood and pick up trash?
not necessarily called it that, but that is a great idea. I need to do a trash walk in their rooms. We might be starting there, but I love that idea. So I'll add
Well,
that.
and I have only done this once with kids, and it was amazing how much trash we found on our own nice street. You know, like our tree-lined street with houses. It was shocking. And obviously, you know, we definitely wore gloves and everything. But kids, this is like an Easter egg hunt, only you're looking for trash, right? You just walk around picking up trash in your neighborhood. But it really opens your eyes as to, I mean, like, people do not throw trash in the correct receptacles. They throw it out their car window. You know, even like if you do throw it in the trash can and then the trash truck comes and they dump your trash and some of the trash escapes, you know, like that happens as well. So anyway, that wasn't actually what I was going to talk about, but I was moved to. This is what I wanted to talk about, was the Ladybug sensory bin. This one took me a little while to come up with, but I have been saving milk jug lids to donate to the Benches program for a long time. And so I had a bunch of these lids and realized that, like, it doesn't take much to make a milk jug lid look like Ladybug. All it takes is a permanent marker. And once I had those, I realized you can make counters with these. I don't know if you guys ever use little toys to practice counting with your kids. But you can even do these so that you have a ladybug with one dot on her back. You can make ladybugs with 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10, and you can have your kids put them in order. But for the guide, that seemed like a really good one-on-one activity. And I had a hard time kind of coming up with what's an activity that you could do in story time with a large group of kids. And I finally came up with the idea of doing a sensory bin. The pictures show peas, I think split peas, but you can definitely use lentils or really anything else that you wanted to put in with your ladybugs. I like the peas because they're green and it makes the ladybugs look like they're in the garden. But children just love to stick their fingers in that and get that sensory experience. Other things for a good place, that might be all we're gonna talk about. Sorry. Oh, I had a hard time choosing the plant for this, but I do think that wild sunflowers are the way to go. I think they grow quick enough that you could plant wild sunflowers at the beginning of summer, and by the end of summer, you would have a plant that you could measure, basically. So that would be something to do. Okay, we're gonna go to Mel Fell. Is there anything in the chat we need to address, or are we good? I'm actually trying to look at it.
Nope, nothing. Just
Okay.
somebody thanked you for telling them about Wake Up Woods.
It's so good. Everybody needs to have it. I love it.
Oh, and
Okay.
Suzanne shared that they're setting up a bee and butterfly garden at their library for summer reading.
Fine. Well, that's perfect for a good place because that's essentially what that book is about. Okay, we're going to talk about Mel Fell now. And this is the story of this kingfisher bird who is starting to learn how to fly. And I will leave it at that. Shell?
Another favorite one too, and this is a Caldecott honor book, which is very inspiring. For this one, wait, was this my favorite page? Okay, no, I think I had one that was about birdseeds. Again, just reiterating the fact that there are so many activities to select here. Yes, bird seeds. So I have in the past failed epically putting together some bird seeds or a bird seed activity. We lived in Avon, Indiana, and we had this tree in the front of our yard that for whatever reason, it attracted a lot of birds. It didn't grow very well, but I had an epic fail with bird seeds. So this one, I love DIYs. And so this is an easy activity to use some of the favorites in your pantry. Everyone, has flour, cornmeal, shortening, peanut butter, and in this specific activity, and a mesh bag, onion bag works. But if you have a mesh bag that you use for masks or anything, this could be an easy activity for kids. And little learners, they love to create concoctions and take home things. So I really like this one because for me, it's gonna allow me to try again with the kids. We went to buy the bird seeds from the store. We thought we had it made by going to buy our stuff, but it didn't work. So I think the DIY option is going to work in our favor. So this seems like a fun one that we're going to try this season. So and it goes along with the story because the story is about Mel, who's a fantastic bird. So yeah, I like this one. This is a favorite. How about you, Suzanne? I know you have one that you really like too.
This one is my favorite. So this is the paper bag bird costume, and this was inspired by my older sister who was in a play when she was in kindergarten, and she played a bluebird. And I was literally just remembering that and came up with these directions. So I actually put together this whole page. All of those little shapes are brought to you by Suzanne. And it's not hard to make, it just takes a lot of space. So like if you were gonna do this at your library, you would want to do it as like a workshop, like a paper bag bird costume workshop. And all it takes is you literally just need two paper grocery sacks, scissors, markers or crayons work, a hole punch, yarn and tape. That's all you need. And there's very detailed directions on how to do it. My mom did send me pictures of my sister wearing this costume when she was a child, but it was from the 70s, and so they were really bad pictures, like quality wise was not great. But this little kid is from someone who's on the Firefly committee. I sent her the directions and they made that costume based on the directions. And then this little girl is the granddaughter of my next door neighbor, this one, and that's the costume that I made. So you can see that they look really similar, and both kids just loved wearing these bird costumes. So that one I really liked a lot. Then the other thing I wanted to show you guys from Melfell, I mean, I'm really proud of the bird watching stuff. It's a great idea to take kids out and do bird watching. And Shell, in Florida, you would be looking for different birds than here in Indiana, which is kind of cool.
Yes, so I'm fortunate that I claim both states. Home state is definitely Indiana, so I love the cardinal, the red. You can change the colored paper for the activity as well and make it red.
Sure.
I'm gonna look up the Florida. I should know this, so don't tell my fellow Floridians.
What's the state bird of Florida?
State bird of Florida.
I don't know.
Is
it
northern mockingbird?
Oh, that's cool.
Interesting.
I was wondering if it was like a seagull or something.
Well,
Interesting.
And a lot of cranes. So
the last activity I wanted to share with you guys from this one, though, is a rhyme that was written by an Indiana librarian. So this is written by Will Smither. He's on the Firefly committee, and I'm just gonna perform it for you. So this goes like this. The kingfisher bird sits way up high. Can you see my hand? Waiting for a fish to swim by. The kingfisher's head moves left and right to catch a fish in its sight. The kingfisher bird, there it is, swoops on down when it spots a fish swimming around. The kingfisher bird has excellent eyes watching the water as it flies. The kingfisher's beak is pointy and long. It goes underwater, but not for long. The kingfisher bird grabs a fish to eat, pops out of the water with a tasty treat. Isn't that great? So Will wrote that, and if you practice it, you would do a lot better than I did. And you can add any kind of hand motions that you wanted for that. So good job, Will. That was amazing. Other things from this part of the manual, the Kookaburra song is a classic song about the Australian kingfisher bird, the Kookaburra. Do you know that song, Shell? You can just nod your head. You don't have to unmute, nod, or do you know it?
No.
No, okay. It goes like this. Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree. Merry, merry king of the bush is he. Laugh, Kookaburra, laugh. Kookaburra gay, your life must be. And there's several different verses. I was really
good. Oh my God, I need to bring you to my house because I'll bring all those out if I try to sing.
No problem. But I do want to mention, like, if you're a non-singer, you don't have to sing this stuff. You can just speak it. And speaking your rhymes during story time is almost as effective as singing. So don't you worry if you can't sing. You just, Kookaburra sits in the old gum tree. Merry, merry king of the bush is he. You just speak it, and that will give your storytime kids the same benefit of hearing the little pieces of the words as they get with singing, which is cool. Okay, so we're gonna move on. I'm looking at our time and it's just going quick. So what was your favorite part in Palatero Man, Shell?
So the book is set in Los Angeles, and not that I'm in Los Angeles, but I'm in Florida, and it is always hot here. In fact, this weather is beautiful now, it's 80 degrees, but the sauna turns on in May. So it's going to get extremely hot from May until around the November timeframe, even December in some cases. And so this book is super cute. I especially love the paletas and in eating. That's my favorite other thing to do aside from reading. But I really like the activity on how to make popsicles and in paletas. So I've tried these before, but with lemon juice and water, and I was doing it all wrong. So this activity and how to make the paletas, so just my mouth is getting watery right now. So I'm not sure if this can be done in the library.
Yeah, I felt like we really had to have a recipe, and we used this one with permission from Layla Pujol. And she has a blog called Laylita's Recipes. So we were really lucky that she allowed us to use that recipe. I did have to make them to get the photographs, and then we got to eat them, and they were delicious. They were really good. But again, like, it is a good question. We don't normally include snacks in the program manual because very often your patrons are going to have a big variety of dietary needs. Clearly, these actually they're pretty intense when it comes to freezing, and you have to freeze them one section at a time. So I don't know that you would, but you could always print this out and give it to your patrons as a handout, like at the end of this, at the end of your program about Paletero Man. But I do have a treat for you guys today. I'm going to sing a song for you with my guitar. Let me pull that one back up. And I apologize. When I'm looking over here, I'm looking at the screen. Okay, here we go. Let me grab my guitar.
I can't wait.
Well, don't be too thrilled because, I'm not that great at it. But anyway, so this is how this goes. I wrote this. This is the tune to my Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. I'll make a horchata paleta. I'll make it so cinnamony. I'll make a horchata paleta. Frankly, I think I'll make 3. 1, 2, 3, yes, 1 for you and you for me. 1, 2, 3, yes, paletas for you and me. Could you hear the guitar?
Yay!
Does that sound all right?
Yes, we could hear. Yay. Great job, Suzanne.
I'll do one more verse for you. I'll make a banana paleta. I'll make it so smooth and creamy. I'll make a banana paleta. Frankly, I think I'll make 3. Oops, 3. 1, 2, 3, yes, 1 for you and me. 1, 2, 3, yes, paletas for you and me. And most of you guys probably know or remember that I'm a big proponent of using guitars in story time. It's magical when you bring an instrument in and you do not have to be able to play it very well. This one is 3 chords, which is a G and a D and a C. And if you have those 3 chords, there's like hundreds of songs that you can play. So you don't have to be a good guitar player. And if you'll notice, I just played the chord and then sang. I'll make a horchata paleta. I'll make it so cinnamony. So it's not hard. You have to be a little coordinated, but that's all. Okay. All right. Because of time, we're just going to keep moving on. There's a color sheet in here. There's a activity about the Mexican flag. Paletas are a Mexican treat. I did make this felt paleta. I made 3 of them that you can then bounce in a parachute if you wanted to. There's the pattern for that. There's a couple money activities because we do talk about dinero in this book. There's a finger play. There's a couple other really good songs. I really loved It Sure Is Hot from the Fiesta Songs by Sesame Street. I can't remember it to sing it to you, but I remember I really liked it. So all of the song lists are good, guys. I looked at all of them. Like I listened to all of them multiple times. They're very good. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Room for Everyone. Shell, what did you like in Room for Everyone?
This book is amazing. I know I keep saying that about all of them, but we really picked a good lineup here. So this one is about a young boy in a crowded bus, and he discovers that, and the people on the bus discover that there's room for everyone. And it's a lighthearted rhyming book, and it's set in Zanzibar, it's a place where I want to go one day. So my favorite page is this one, because I think it's important to learn a different language, learn new words. And so the Swahili words are very interesting to learn. I think it'll be a good activity for kids to practice new words, new learnings. And then because the book is set on a bus, so a dala, there is a great activity here about mass transportation and some books that can accompany it that's similar. So this is a fun activity. I think where the kids are going to love it. I know I did, learning these new words. What about you? What did you like about Room for Everyone and your favorite activity, Suzanne?
So the coolest thing about this was we knew going into it that we would need a little support on the Swahili language. And so I actually wrote to the publisher and said, what can you help us with on this, on the pronunciation? And they sent us audio clips done by the author, done by Naz Khan, on how to pronounce some of these words. So I remember Zuleha is the name of a street, Bogala is the boat, Konda is the conductor, Kitenge is the cloth, and Nuiji is, I think that's right, I might have to listen to that one again, is the name of a beach. But there is a link there that you can click on and hear the author pronounce the word. So that was super cool and so nice of her to send that along. But what I'm gonna actually show you today, if I can get it to work, is I'm gonna show you the flannel board that goes with this. So I'm gonna have to stop sharing that. And that way you can see the flannel board. Okay, can you guys see my flannel board?
Yes, it's beautiful.
Okay, so this is a book cart, and here's a bus. And as you know, in the book, it's a counting book, and there it goes from 1 to 10. And I'm just gonna show you, this is just printed out on a piece of paper. And I printed out in color the items. So here's our bike, and we're gonna put the bike on the back. And obviously you would do this while you're reading the book. Here's our 2 pink goats. They're gonna go over this wheel. Here's our 3 bags or baskets of fruit. And guys, this is literally a piece of paper with a magnet on the back. And
So
that's
easy.
there. And here's our 4 cans of milk. I'm gonna go here. We have 5 silver fish. And I worked on this really hard so that you guys wouldn't have to. So you don't have to figure out how this works because I've already done it for you. There's our chickens, our hens. Here's our umbrellas. We're gonna stick the umbrellas through the back window. So they stick out the back. We're gonna put our 8 bamboos on the top of the bus because we put a little rack on the top. We're gonna put our 9 mango right there. See how it fits like a puzzle? You guys don't have to figure this out. It's already done for you. So nice. And there's our 10 underwater sea divers. Isn't that fun? Yes, definitely like a partridge and a pear tree. So that activity is in the manual. I'm gonna go back and share the manual real quick, and then we will finish up our, actually, I don't think we have time to share the manual again. So I am going to share the slides though, and we'll finish up. There's just a couple of other things I wanted to mention. And then we will wrap up today.
Suzanne, while you do that, we have a question in the chat, just generally about the award.
Yes.
Can books that are nominated be self-published books?
Generally speaking, I'm going to say no. And the reason is because they have to be widely available. As long as they're widely available, then yes, but sometimes with self-published books, it's difficult for libraries to purchase them. So that's what we have to think about. We have to think about accessibility for the libraries themselves, for their business offices, for, you know, just the availability of the book itself. So if it's widely available, then maybe, but generally speaking, we've never had a self-published book be nominated. So I would say generally speaking, probably not because of the accessibility issue.
Thank you.
It's a great question. Okay, so a couple of things that I just wanted to cover before we wrap up. How do you vote for this award? You can vote however you want. This is a copy of the ballot, and you should have those at your library. We sent a few ballots to every library system, or you can get them on our website. And basically the directions are there. Every child in Indiana, ages 0 to 5, can vote. Try to make sure kids only vote one time, but this is not an election for president. We don't, you know, we're not going to check that. But, you know, what we ask is that you guys vote at your library, collect votes at your library, and then just mail me the tallies, email me the tallies. Like, you don't have to mail me copies of ballots. You just have to send me one email that says we had 10 kids vote for Bathe the Cat, 5 kids for A Good Place, etc. And people vote in different ways. Yeah, let's do this. This is from last year. You can set up a voting board where kids get stickers, and they can put a sticker for each book that they're interested in, not each book, for the one book that they're going to vote on. You can set up a voting station. There's a couple of different ballot boxes that you guys can see. What I always do is I have one story time for Firefly where I read all 5 books. And there's the plan is already written. It's in the program guide. So you can do the story time using all 5 books. I know it's a lot. The very first book you do for that, I think, is Room for Everyone, because you want to get the long one out of the way. But you can use the flannel board to make that go along quickly. And then what I do is I put all the books in different spaces in the room and have the kids go stand by their favorite. Or you can give them like a bean bag and put a basket by each book, and each kid can vote with their bean bag. So that's how we do it here. So when you do have your votes, you can send them to me. There's my email address again. And I'm just gonna have Shell pop on real quick to tell us 2 things, and then we're gonna have to wrap up the webinar because I realize we're at time. So Shell, can you talk a little bit about how you use the manual? We were talking about this earlier. You said you write notes in it, all that kind of stuff. And then can you also talk briefly about serving on the committee?
Yes, I didn't share my manual, the program guide on screen because it has so many sticky notes and notes from this session as well in it. So I do story time with Shell, just a personal thing that I do for volunteering purposes with my local school and my local nonprofit organization of choice. And the booklet is so much in here. It's jam-packed with different activities. So when reading the books, I will often reference any of the activities, print the guide out. I know there's an actual beautiful colored version of this, but it's a PDF online. So I often share it with other people that I know. I printed it out myself. It's just so convenient. And I think this book this year is larger than last year's. It's over 60 pages, 66, right, Suzanne, in addition to the cover. So it's just a great resource to have on hand all the time with you. So I really like it. And it's beautifully designed and put together. The Firefly Award logo is blazoned on the front of it. So I think the committee has done a really good job to curate this year's guide for you. And speaking of the committee, as I mentioned earlier, I've been a member of the Firefly Award Committee for 2 years now. I really enjoy it personally. It's great for networking and collaboration. I remember meeting Suzanne at one of my story times at the State Library, and just I really enjoyed her passion for literacy and picture books. And so other committee members share that same passion. They're librarians, they're educators. And so it's so convenient to serve on this committee. Suzanne does a really great job of keeping us organized, keeping us on deadline, but just the creativity is there. And I think for For all of us, we all have a passion for reading and literacy that we just really want to help kids and you as librarians to have resources and tools available to just make your lives easier. So, and we get to read new books. So that is a huge bonus for us to be able to get introduced to new authors, Indiana authors, and just an opportunity to just have a great book list for young readers. So those are my
Thank you. And Shell, did you get your freebies?
I did.
Oh, good.
So
Okay.
another bonus, you get free books to read for the next award season. And what I end up doing is donating them. I love to put books in hands of little kids. So that's another plus for being.
Awesome. I love
Thank
it.
you,
Well,
Suzanne.
I just want to thank Shell so much for joining us today. We'll go ahead and wrap up. Thank you, Shell. It's been a joy to do this with you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have no time for a Q&A, but Beth, are there any questions that we need to?
I do not see any questions. I'm going to stop the recording. So thank you everyone for attending or watching the recording. If you are,